Well, welcome back again, folks. It's day 2 here from the North American ESL Pro League relegation event, where we have Enigma6 taking on Rush for the first of 2 available slots. We did have our elimination match go on a little bit earlier, but it didn't really happen because the Foundation ended up forfeiting at 0-2. So Ghost just got a free pass through, which means they're now going to play against the loser of this match for the second and final slot. But we did already see Enigma6 crushing it back on Mirage. They're up with a solid 1-0 lead. And that may follow through to a quick 2-0 here if they can take Cobblestone as well, because Rush just didn't really look like they were all that in it, based on the way that the first map played. I'm here with Bach once again. Bach, do you agree with Rush looking a little bit weak, of course, the first map?
Yeah, I'm not really too hopeful right now if I'm Rush. Just based on what we saw in that first map, it was a really dominant play from Enigma6, consistently winning fight after fight after fight. It wasn't even necessarily that Rush had really bad setups. At times, as that half progressed, we could see them making more and more mistakes. But early on, they were playing all right. They were just getting beaten in almost every single duel. I mean, it was 16 rounds in, and Wrath and Vice combined for 49 kills. I mean, that's just an absurd performance from those two.
Yeah, and now we're going to have to see if that will carry through into this second map now, as we are going live with it. Rush now going to start on their T side with Enigma6. Jumping over to the CT side. Rush not wasting any time with getting their 5 players together for the opening push at the moment. Just splitting their guys up, though, inside of those B halls, and probably going to let them into a default here. I was thinking at first that they would just try to rush onto B, but that's not the case anymore. That doesn't mean we're not going to find themselves an early battle. Ruru and A2Z do trade a few blows, but does not lead to either one getting a kill just yet.
Blade finally takes some damage, though. He's at 73. He's falling back from B main to group up with the rest of the team, who is actually sitting at the bottom of mid double doors. Vice is here, and he's holding the danger stairs. This is a very risky angle. He's going to get overwhelmed in just a second. Somehow he manages to get at least one in the fray. He's still got Shinobi trying to support, and Blade's taking damage from range, but Shinobi can't survive for that too much longer as the players push up from long, and he gets overwhelmed. Meanwhile, though, there was a kill in connector and 2 more in the site. That's Wrath showing up big. Surprise, surprise. Wrath, the young blood, picking up 3 kills on the round. What else do you expect?
Wrath getting those kills from absolutely crazy circumstances as well. Rolls outside of the murder hole there, outside of the shed. I think he kills his first guy either inside of the alleyway or around the APC. Spins down to kill a second guy at the exit to the mid connector, and then another one, the third one and final one up on the site. Very well done from him. Very hard to make that actually happen too, judging from the situation and position that he was trying to work his way out of. So nicely played, and certainly earning E6 their pistol yet again to start off the second map.
This is where they weren't able to stop Rush, though, in that first half on Mirage. All things considered, they did fine. 13-2 But this was the one round that Rush had for a while, was a force buy following a pistol round loss. And Shinobi is playing a very dangerous game here as well. He's got to be careful. Here's the pop flash. The molly goes down, but he doesn't have a chance to pull out his gun. In fact, he's going to lose his teammate here as well. A2Z somehow survives long enough to pick up 1 kill in the fight, but it's down to 2 already. So a bit of a misplay there by Shinobi. Just playing right on the other side of the door. Didn't really give himself too much of a chance. Ruru gets spotted on the edge of the smoke, so it brings us back to a 2-on-2. Wrath and Whitmer both in the same place. Doesn't seem to stop them at all, and they're going to get the retake anyway. So in the end, the kills pile up for Enigma6, more so than Rush, as 2 players will survive with the defuse as well. Still a bit scary, and a little bit scarier than it should have been. A bit of a misplay there by Shinobi and A2Z on the A site.
But indeed, E6 still take control of it, so they're up 2-0 now. But they may not have that early huge economy boost that we saw them getting back on the T side of Mirage. Now Rush has a chance in front of them here. Do they really want to decide to buy up now and attempt to break E6, or would they prefer to wait for the gunner? It doesn't look like they take the gunner route, which very well aligns with what we saw from Rush, not only in the last 2 days, but over the course of Pro League throughout the season. They tended to be a very passively bought team when having that extra aggression may not have hurt them. Beautiful nade as well, tossed in from drop. Look at how much damage it's done. Akis, Blade, Ruru, all get hit somewhere between 30 and 50 damage from it. And their HPs just get wrecked, and I think another nade just hit them all too. But now they're all just basically already primed for the picking here. Vice and Whitmer having found them. And they end up with a bit of a full house kill spread between the 2 of them to give an easy 3rd round to E6.
Easy is really the adjective of the day right now if you're Enigma6. That was a fast round, no surprise there. It's armorless pistol, double nade, just destroys them. One was over boost and one was off the wall from broken wall, actually I think off the box into the arch there on the B platform. So here's where the rubber meets the road if you're Rush, because their buy rounds did not look fantastic on the last map. This is now their pick. We're hoping to see something, because realistically speaking, we didn't see much from them on Mirage. Silent's going to pick up his op. There's no op in play for the CTs. They're approaching this as a bit of a bonus round. They've got the double ump and the FAMAS, trying to stack up as much cash as possible. If they can find success here, then awesome. If not, they'll have enough to buy up in the next anyway.
Yeah, right now, Rush just holding their players back inside of those B halls, basically turning itself into a default setup. Normally, they'd be a bit more spread out at this time point, but the smoke at the exit to the approach over towards platform is kind of holding them up and delaying them for a few extra minutes here, a few extra seconds. So is what is causing this kind of group up, and they're going to have to deal with yet another one as they push their way out. Flash is moving in too, so Enigma6 showing themselves a lot of good control over the situation here and good at running them the timer, but still 50 seconds is plenty of time for Rush to execute, so they're certainly not going to be worried about it just yet. They will need to watch out, however, if these two players coming into A do start to push in and look for a flank against them. Great peek from Whitmer, though, right up the side of the box, destroys Ruru and already puts a bit of a dent in his take. Wrath adding 2 more to the counter there as well.
And that's what Wrath did so well on Cbble in the past with this team, just popping heads left and right. Silent really can't get anything going with his op either. Blade's the only one left alive, and not for much longer either. Only 1 kill on the buy round here, so play continues on as we've seen already in the last 20 plus rounds between the first map and now, with Enigma6 dominating Rush pretty easily. And being as they can, they're just going to go back to SMGs here. Vice decides to go with the ump. Shinobi's going to hold on to his. Whitmer does swap out and get that AWP now. So things are looking really good for Enigma6 as they have all night long. Rush is still hitting the brick wall of their defense.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, might as well just try to stack up your cash as best you can here, considering that the CT set can be broken relatively easily, even with large amounts. So they want to try to push up towards 10k plus again if they can get to that point, and they certainly may have an opportunity as that at Rush is rushing their play in towards drop, and at the moment not going very well. Ruru has taken out 1, but that's going to be the end of him, and now all that's left alive is Blade with a measly little P250. He has gotten himself on only this little corner spot at the top of the ramp, so may go unexpected. Tries to move out to impact against Shinobi, but is spotted by Whitmer, and the deny comes in, so indeed they'll only end up with that 1 kill against Wrath.
Speaking of deny, and this is something we were saying, this is 3/5 of the old denial roster, so it's no surprise that Enigma6 has some stability, even though the roster is not, a really old one. That goes back a couple seasons ago when it was Whitmer, Shinobi, Vice, Sick, and Fruit, who finished first in ESCA Premier but lost their relegation match to at the time, I think they were LG. It might have been Winter Fox at that point, which was Lex, Anger, Flowsick, XP3, and, that whole group. So, looks like they might have a chance to make it into the Pro League here, as they're just 1 map away, and they're off to a great start in the second. 5-0 start. Rush really hasn't found anything as of yet. And even the rounds that have been played out have not been very close at all. The only one that was even remotely close was that second round, the force buy after the pistol round lost. They're going to put A to Z up on Humpty Dumpty, as it does appear to be an A play that would work out quite nicely for them. Shinobi heaves a nade out towards long. Right now, the bulk of players for Rush are grouped up in that area. The bomb has now repositioned towards lower mid. This is a repeat of a round we saw not that long ago, with 1 player lurking in from the drop room. That'll be Toy this time around. And that player got eliminated pretty quickly last time. So we'll see if that's going to be a problem again for Rush. But it doesn't even look like Toy wants to lurk at this point. He just wants to group up with the team and make this a team effort towards the A site.
Yeah, Ruru already finding that first entry, however, takes a bit of damage on the way in, so it has opened up a bit of a push into this site. Shinobi way out in the open, and Wrath, he doesn't get anything going for himself. Akis was the one player that Shinobi was able to take down, but overall the hold seems a little bit disjointed after they lose that first player. So more than likely going to end up looking at a save situation for both Whitmer and Vice, as they don't have any reliable way to get back in, even past the wall here.
I mean, I'm looking at Shinobi in that position, and I just gotta wonder, what are you doing? Like, that's such a strange play to make. He's just standing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, just right on the Owen.
Yeah, I mean, he's exposed to both ramp and long, and he's trying to watch both spots at the same time when he has a player Plywood. So if anything, just get in the corner by Humpty Dumpty and hold long, so that at least you have 2 players watching long, and then once you get a kill or 2 long, you can refocus your attention. But instead, he's got no cover from either direction. Instead, he chooses to basically take a fight that's like a 270-degree fight. It's just kind of bizarre and decision-making process there from Shinobi, and part of the reason why they lost the round. Obviously, A2Z needed to do a little bit more from that position, but I didn't see from his perspective. I'm assuming he got flashed out as he died really quickly.
So, putting us into a 5-1 score situation here now. Rush still splitting up into that default with Enigma6 playing heavy towards the B site now. Very heavy. 4 guys in the site. Closest person you have to a rotator is going to be Shinobi, who does move over now if you're not seeing an initial just straight up rush into the B bomb site. The Rush themselves, like I said before, just kind of playing it into a default. They do find themselves a bit of a scrap versus A2Z, but he'll survive. Just push back and still has 20 HP left.
A2Z is going to get up on the turret here and just duck down and hope that they don't check it, because he's very low on HP, just 20 health left here. I would imagine that someone from Rush is going to have the presence of mind to turn to this corner and jump peek it, but they don't. They walk right past. They don't even know. A2Z even sees the head of one player. He's going to see these smokes going up too. Oh, this is a great play. All he has to do is play this right. There's Ruru. There's one, but unfortunately he didn't anticipate the second, so he didn't know that Aegis was there. It is going to initiate a rotate over from Enigma6. Could have been a 2-for for him, but instead Shinobi's going to jump into the back of sight, and he sees Aegis hiding in the corner. That's a quick kill to bring us back. They've allowed Toy out of the drop room, though. This is the play that we talked about potentially seeing in the last round. Toy's made it into the smoke in the door as well, so it's got the defense awkward, but so's the kills piling up. 28 seconds left, and they're going to pull the bomb back and head towards B. And since they haven't spotted anything in A yet, Vice has sniffed this one out, and he's rotated back towards the B bomb site, moving his way up towards Pizza.
Vice has got to go big here, though. He's still going to be alone. Shinobi's still another 5 to 10 seconds off. And ooh, he's not even able to get the 1 kill. Does bring him low, however. So Shinobi getting into the site, tries to deny. Very messy spray. However, but he corrects it on the second peak. Bomb should still go down, but he's going to have time to reposition himself, get around the corner, and just take that duel versus Blade to shut it out 1v2 and put E6 back into control, now up 6-1.
He makes up for that mistake in the previous round, that kind of bizarre positioning that really lost them a lot of control on that A site. He comes back with a 3K here and says, don't worry, guys, I got this. I'll make up for it. And we're seeing a bit more even distribution for Enigma6, at least on the kill charts right now, whereas last map we saw basically Wrath and Vice doing everything. I guess you could say the same thing for Rush, but it's not as good. 3, 2, 2, 2, and 6 for Ruru, who's at the top of the charts. So 6 rounds now. Rush has enough to come back and buy with, and it's actually a pretty strong buy as well, all things considered. You'd think, looking at the rounds, the way they stacked up, they'd be broken here, but not so, given that they did survive with 4 players in round 6. So it will be 5 AKs across the board, no op for Silent this time around, and that might be painful, as Whitmer has got the AWP in his hands, and that's been an interesting duel to watch play out thus far.
Well, Rush now once again propping their players up to try and go for a bit more of a split execution. A lot moving into drop, and that does include the bomb as well. A third player possibly about to move in here too, but Vice might get caught with a nade out. Ramali goes back up, and Akis immediately moves into punish. Meanwhile, on the front lines towards A, Shinobi's been able to hold for that first kill, but back over here, you're seeing Wrath try to hold on. Again, same issue though, only getting 1 kill, which puts all the A defense currently into A2Z's hands. Holding in the Humpty Dumpty corner now. He's gonna see Akis peek back out, swings in for the second, but Silent punish is there. And that is gonna put Whitmer in the hot seat for the 1v2.
Whitmer wisely swaps off the op. Doesn't matter if that's your best gun. It's a situation that calls for a rifle, and that's exactly what he does. Actually gets caught kind of surfing, stuck on the tire well of the truck there for a second, the APC. Toy is peeking out on sight. Oh, he might have just spotted him, but it doesn't matter. Whitmer beats the duel. So the bomb is planted perfectly for Silent, and that molly is well thrown. He still decides to peek out for whatever reason. Whitmer's going to have to switch out to the USP. Silence burned off a significant portion of clock, but I think Whitmer still got this. Yeah,
he's got plenty of time.
I don't understand the play from Silent. He mollies and then keeps fighting. Interesting.
It is a little weird considering he could have just wasted time there, but I don't know. It seems like he maybe had the appropriate angle to shut him down, or maybe he didn't think he knew where he was, because he was like trying to flank that, so that wasn't the initial position he was playing from when Whitmer started to go back in. So maybe he thought he had the element of surprise, but the molly would have ruined that. So it still doesn't explain why he went in and took the duel.
Yeah, I mean, like I have my game audio turned down very low right now because it was like blowing my eardrums out for whatever reason, and I can't hear the bomb ticks that well, so I couldn't tell if he had it. But then I heard it, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Why did he molly so early? Like, why did he molly and then peek on top of that? If you're gonna play that peeking game, do that first.
There was a good like 2 to 3 extra seconds, I think, that he had to get on that bomb. So.
Yeah. Just bizarre play from Silent really cost them the round, but it's 7 now for Enigma6, and the push is coming in towards B. It is going to be Tech9's in play here. They do get at least 1 kill on the push as Shinobi got one first, but the bomb will be planted right on the other side of the wall from Vice, who gets a jumping headshot onto Ruru. And why not? With the way that things have been going thus far, it seems appropriate that Vice would get a jumping kill. 4 players survive for Enigma6, exactly what you would expect given the buyout from Rush.
And so 8-1, Rush are finding themselves a good string of plants. At the very least, they have a pretty consistent run of money going for them. Unfortunately, the one round they did win still brought their losing bonus back down to what is now only a 3 straight. So while they have the money to buy, you know, you're going to see a couple of reductions coming in here. Silent and Toy don't get the greatest amount of utility. Brew has got to go down to a Galil, and even then only gets himself a smoke. Slightly limited, and I mean, just those small little things have led to huge advantages for Enigma6 on both the first and second maps so far. So I doubt that Enigma6 is really going to be too worried when they do detect that this is a full buy.
A2Z again pushed up on long. Molly first, smoke to follow. Nade right on top of it. That nade's going to do decent damage too. Actually goes a little bit past them, so Ruru and Akis could have taken a bit more had he thrown it just 1 second sooner. Still though, this is that setup we've seen pretty much consistently with A presence from Rush and Toy lurking in drop room. So at this point, it's all going to come down to Enigma6 just figuring out where they're going early and then being able to stop it pretty quickly. Because they've seen this look multiple times from Rush. They should know what to expect. It's been one of the few times that Rush has really even found a modicum of success. So you got to anticipate this type of play. And it does seem to be that they are expecting it as they're bringing a third player over to A right now. Although the bomb has started moving back towards Dragonlord. So maybe they're not content with the A play. Maybe we'll see a bit of a fake here from Rush.
A2Z trying to peek in. He may find himself Ruru in a second here as he's hugging that initial right cubby. Timing is going to be a big part of how this potential 1v1 will end up going down. And A2Z actually looks like he got a little bit tired of waiting, so creeping his way around the corner now. There is a cross spray setup if he goes into here, and he's going to walk right into it. Still somehow gets Akis, though, so 1 for 1 is certainly not bad at all, especially considering that the actual players towards B made 0 impact, and they're trying to haphazardly push themselves into the A site to clear the way for the bomb. Ruru finds the initial entry to move into this site, but now Wrath holding on, eliminates the ramp player. Ruru goes down. The other 3 sort of stumble a little bit here, which opens up another opportunity for Wrath to frag back out. Now he moves in. Whitmer cuts off Silent when he tries to push out from the alleyway. And Toy, he's going nowhere. Wrath finds his 3rd kill. Final kill of the round. E6 now up 1-9.
I mean, we're starting to sound like broken records here. I mean, this has just been so many rounds. Let's see, it was 16-2 in that first game, right? So it's now 25-3. The rounds for Enigma6 versus Rush in a best-of-3 series. Just absolutely fantastic work from Enigma6, and Rush just looks lost. They honestly just look like they haven't been playing. If I'm being perfectly honest, you know, when we watched this team play through Premier and work their way towards playoffs 2 seasons in a row, it was a completely different roster, realistically. I mean, it was Toy, Blade, Little Man. They had Haptic at that point in time as well. You know, it was a different group of guys playing under the banner, and they seem to play much better than what we're seeing right now. It's like they've just lost the motivation.
Yeah, and it seems like that loss may send them over to the lower bracket where they'd have to face off against Ghost, which is another very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Very enthusiastic team to try and play off for qualification. And if they drop that one, well, they'll have lost their chance, and we'll have 2 new teams once again taking the helm for Season 6 of the Pro League, or move-up teams, and no one is going to be able to defend their slot.
I mean, just looking at like a team that made Pro League, then made tremendous roster changes, basically became more of Muffin Lightning than the old Rush squad. You have to wonder how that that long season of playing through Pro League without an org affected the team and the team morale, because it really just doesn't look like the same team. They just don't look as clean and crisp as this team used to look. Kind of feels like everything's just getting a little bit sloppy. And after that first map, we did kind of posit that this could be a possible result, that the team would get frustrated. But look at the play call here. Rush just goes for straight up the middle, hold W, don't stop, go right into the A site. Shinobi doesn't even know what's going on. He's so confused. How are they in connector already? As Ruru gets a kill with the Tech 9, A2Z is even a little bit overwhelmed here on long. This play is actually working out quite nicely here for the boys from Rush.
Yeah, look at this, all this control that they've managed to get control of now. Both Wrath and Whitmer going to try to sort of squeeze their way back over onto this A-bomb site, but Wrath's having trouble just getting himself outside of the shed. Marks the kill, though, and keep in mind, still 2 pistols in play, so they can rally this back just yet. Wrath with that double kill has brought them back into the fold, and he's on the cusp of an ace now, too, if he can follow it through. Wrath's going to steal that opportunity, but they somehow still make it happen as Enigma6 push up 10-1 with Wrath having a massive 4K.
I mean, what do you even do now if you're Rush? It's almost getting to that point now where you can just like lay back and be like, well, they tried. You know, they make a great play call in my opinion. They just kind of run up the gut, just like a power I formation, just straight up the middle through the defensive line, or lack thereof. But then in the retake, they just didn't have much to hold them off. I mean, it was just pistols, so it didn't really work out well for them. At least they get a bomb plant there, so they're going to have some money, but that's not how they needed to start. They could not afford to lose a player that early on who is still pretty much sitting on full utility. Wrath's going to get 1, make it 2. There's one more in front of him. It's Blade who drops the bomb at least so it doesn't go over the edge, water falling into the drop room. But at this point, a 4-on-2 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. It's another in a string of successful starts for Enigma6.
Yeah, and Rush, again, based on the track record here, I really don't see them trying to make a comeback in this round. Even so, they're separated too, both Blade and Silent being split up. So Silent, amazing to get hit by this molly, but doesn't matter. Vice just going to roll right up, knock him out. And now Blade with the bomb at the very least, and a decent amount of utility to try and sneak into A. You really only got to win 1v1 to at the very least get a plant down. That's one thing Rush has been at least relatively consistent at, is figuring out a decent number of plants here. Unfortunately, not going to happen this time. A2Z is set up for the push against Blade, and they'll close it out in another clean fashion. Even though Wrath went down, he got 2 kills before doing it, so he recuperates quite a bit of that money, and we'll end up still with plenty left over after the rebuy.
A 10-round lead as Rush are just going to keep buying and buying and buying off the back of full loss bonus at this point, because what else are you going to do? You've already given up so much. And this is starting to go back to what we had said when we saw the vetoes initially. I didn't think that Cbble was really a map that played to their strengths at all. You know, looking at the team, like we said, in Pro League, they did not win a single cobblestone match, at least from what we could see. You could argue that the vetoes just didn't go their way and they picked a map that was best suited for them, or the maps that were left didn't really give them many options, but still, I just kind of wonder how this one squeaks through. First kill is going to go their way, though, as they managed to end Wrath, who was doing a really good job of holding down the drop room. They've made this round winnable, with Whitmer stuck on site behind the statue. He really needed to hit that shot onto Ruru. So it's A2Z rotating over from the A site already. Are they just going to take this bomb A? Yeah, it looks like they're already making that decision.
He messed up this molly, too, now, so look how much damage he's got to walk through.
Oh, my God.
He just
got another one, at least.
Yeah, he just lost like 60 health, though, because he screwed that one up. And he didn't want to wait that long
he could still seal the deal with that second molly if he wants to finish off that last little bit left.
It's got to be tough, though. They're doing a good job of like funneling him in the one direction with that smoke in the doorway, so they should be able to read into this. And he's not being super quiet about it either. Mauling into the default spot, praying that someone's there, but they're not hiding it out. If he somehow wins this, I'll be really surprised based on the way that Rush is set up for it now. But he's going to move in. He's got that first kill at least. Toy's got the info. Just going to play it nice and slow, and he should be able to shut it down. But you'll look for it now. You should be able to hear him crawling around up there. And Toy being really, even like just super passive about this. Doesn't want to take that duel until he knows he has to. It actually might lead to him dying in a second here, but no, he holds on strong. Takes out A2Z. He's got to run out of the site now, and he does indeed make it. But there you go. Finally, Rush secures a second round for themselves. Very similar to Mirage. They find it very close to the end of the half.
I think we were actually at the same scoreline when that happened on Mirage, too. I think it was at 11-2 when that happened. But if I'm Rush at this point, I would have almost just rotated to A and then gone all the way back through spawn and gone back to B, just because, you know, you got to find some fun somewhere. It is still a game, and we are supposed to enjoy ourselves. And it's been, if anything, it's been unenjoyable right now for Rush, as they've been getting bodied left, right, and center. And more damage dealt early on, as this time they're going to go with the boost up. Wrath's going to go up and over the top, so no position holding in E-box or window. He's just going to keep that fight going too, and he actually does really good damage to Aegis. I think he dinked him almost immediately, just struggled to find a follow-up shot. So that'll give some semblance of B control right now for Rush, as they've taken out the man responsible for holding the drop room, and they've still got to concern themselves with Silent here on this A site as well. So pretty decent setup right now for Rush if they were to try to take either side of the map.
Yeah, Rush have that open opportunity. The thing is, though, is there is a few positions here from E6 which could really mess them up. They don't have great coverage on rampants or on the platform push itself, so Whitmer or someone else could very easily push in. In a second, you're probably going to see Shinobi's position come to fruition here. And even A2Z in a good spot. Oh, Shinobi caught looking the wrong direction, though. Timing works out for him terribly, so he's just going to get decked by Aegis, and now it's a wide open A-bomb site. A2Z, actually he's going to get caught by Ruru, but he just barely gets point coverage in time. Looking to recover in the duel, but he can't do it, so Ruru comes out on top, and that should seal it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a save. There's no reason for them to go for this. You thought for a second, with the way that they were playing, they knew that there was a player trying to at least gain control of drop, as A2Z was positioned holding the window for the longest time, even after they had taken the A site. But after a few seconds of them actually having control, he starts to move back towards A, and at that exact moment, you can see the player get out of the window and get the flank play in connector. So, a third round for Rush. Maybe some light at the end of the tunnel after all, but it's still two players surviving, and one of those players has the AWP. Even though it hasn't been the most amazing performance, so to speak, with the AWP, it's been a lot of rifle kills for Whitmer. It's still a player you would like to take out of commission. I don't think they're going to be able to get there in time, though, and even Vice is in a good spot to shut them down if they go on the hunt. There's Aegis being finished off by Whitmer's AWP, so one more player taken out. The final round of the first half is about to be played live here, 11-3. I mean, that's just absurd. It's a really strong CT side performance from E6.
Yeah, and once again, it's not really looking like there's going to be a whole lot of room for Rush to try and bargain this back in a second half scenario right now. Rush themselves up to a full buy, so they do have that chance. If they can bring it to 11-4 and win the pistol, okay, great. They're back into this match, 7-11, great battle to go out there. But they need to secure this round on the pistol. If it goes 12-3 again, I mean, even if they end up winning that pistol, it's still going to be quite a few gun rounds before they're really back in the game. It's just, Rush just have to win out for at least the next 5 or 6 rounds for them really to have a chance. It starts off well, though. Guru moving in, finding that kill on Wrath. A set defense is relatively weak. They've driven that wedge between the two, remaining groups of CTs here now. And they don't even actually realize that it is a full pinch just yet. So both A2Z and Whitmer trying to push their way back in. Whitmer has himself a double lineup, only able to secure 1 kill before being traded back out. A2Z looking for a double of his own, but he too will only get 1, bringing us down to a 2v2. And it's full rotates needed for both remaining CTs in order to actually retake this.
This has been a bit of a problem point for Rush. If you look at the scoreboard, you can see just how many rounds it's been Enigma6 retaking. They've really struggled, and this A site was where they were finding most of their success getting that bomb down in general. Vice and Shinobi both retaking. Shinobi moving up from mid-ramp, and it's Vice to come in from the balcony. Good work from Toy, though, just covering Silent from the broken wall, and now that puts a lot of pressure on Shinobi. He has no idea where that second player is. Great work, good positioning from both Toy and Silent as they win the final round of the first half. So 11-4 on a map that many people argue is T-sided. Enigma6 starting on the CT side doesn't appear to hurt them at all. So a 7-round advantage as we move into the second half. And as we saw in the first map, pistol rounds are very successful for Enigma6. They've won all 3 played out thus far.
Yeah, like I said for Rush, though, like I said, they won that last round, so 11-4 is certainly recoverable. It's not going to be the complete end of the world for them. If they can win this pistol and not get immediately ecoed by E6, then they'll be in an okay spot to try and round at least a little bit of a comeback here, try to fight it out and scrap for this last map to take it to a 3rd. We are reset, though, and now we are going to get into the second half with Rush, now on the CT side, and Enigma6 playing for the T's.
Keeping my eyes on Wrath in this pistol round. We've seen just what he can do in the last few, as he was pivotal, as was Vice, in all of these rounds. It's where the mechanical skill really shines. Silent's the only player on A, going with a heavy B stack right now, but there's only one guy for the opposing force. It's Shinobi in position. Flashbang goes over the wall to allow a peek, but right now Silent's fallen off of long. They do get that kill on Shinobi, and that's going to be an indicator. Okay, there's nothing else here right now. I would imagine soon we'll see a player rotate over, and there's Ruru. As they hear the smokes come out, he's making his way into connector. He's going to get there just in time to drop into the back of site, but Silent doesn't even need the help. He's going to pick off the first one, but now they've lost control of the site, and Ruru goes down by balcony as well. The bomb will be planted for long A, and it will be a retake on the A site with one player moving in from balcony and two now flanking around from lower ramp, or from ramp and mid double doors. Whitmer hears the footsteps, somehow lets them pass, doesn't realize there's two here, and gets bested in the end. So it does come down to just two. Vice and A2Z both trapped on the site. Actually, Vice has repositioned. He's now underneath the balcony over by the APC. Good shot onto Blade to drop him down very low. He's trying to finish him off, and he's running out of ammo. A2Z, meanwhile, has picked up one more kill, and it's a pretty easy round in the end after all those kills pile up. For Enigma6, two players do survive, and surprise, surprise, another pistol for E6.
What is that? That's 4 for 4, right? I don't think we lost a single one.
That's correct. Yeah, they only lost the eco rounds afterwards, so this is the round to watch right now if you're Rush.
Yeah, and this is really Rush's last chance if this goes forward. I mean, they're obviously going to have the one more gun round when Enigma6 gets up to 14, but I don't really have faith of Rush running a 10-round comeback at that point to try and take it in regulation or even overtime, should we go through to that. We'll have to see, though. 4-man stack on the B site. They've picked their positions right again. Just like I was saying back over on our last map, they were able to get at least that read properly going. Now they need to win out on these opening duels. That's what was killing them so hard back on Mirage when they were in the same situation.
Just got to be careful here if you're Enigma6. Play things slow. Don't get overwhelmed by pistols. Couple's got a lot of CQC, like Danger Stairs, Drop Room. You know, you've got the Anti-Flash and the Cubby on Broken Wall. So just play things slow, feel things out, and work as a team. Make sure you don't get overwhelmed by these 5-7s, because you know they're going to be there playing in these close positions. You've got two players actually in Drop Room right now with Ruru staring straight up into the sky with that CZ75. He's got Akis holding his back from E-Box as well. Over in the Cubby, which is a really good position since the map changed where they bumped it out and made it a little bit deeper. We've got Blade, Toy inside with the Deagle, and then the solo player on A is Silent with the Scout. There has been a bit of damage dealt to the T side with Vice being dropped down to 85, but most of the damage dealt thus far has been towards the CTs. They've lost a player in drop already. That's Wrath, who was coming in from Sidewalk, but there's Toy and Blade to chime in with two of their own. A2Z finishes off the two damaged up players, but just like that, it spins back on its head. It's going to be Shinobi versus Silent. It's Scout versus Up, and there it is. The Scout hits the body of Shinobi and closes out the round. It's not the first time we've seen Rush do that, but this round is the one they seem to struggle with. They can get that force buy, but they just can't get the round that follows.
Yeah, so Rush just barely able to hold on to that situation there. A few whiff shots at the very end by E6's last player, and they are not able to secure themselves the round. Very well could have just won them this set, at least in my eyes. But regardless, E6 is going to give that respect over to Rush. Now, they'll not immediately force buy into the third round to try and get revenge. They're just going to save up here and probably try to buy either in the next round with a little bit of forcing needed, or just half buy into the fourth round and then fully go for it afterwards. Slow start here, though, from both teams. Rush is obviously putting their usual amount of aggression out from the B site. Toy trying to play with the steps a bit, but this is something we generally expect for E6. They are holding back, waiting for their opportunity, but when it comes, Whitmer misses the shot, and that will allow for them, Rush, this is to gain the 5v4 advantage.
Pistol's really not working out well here for Enigma6 off the start. They try to go into the drop room. Ruru's right around the corner. And despite having an MP9 at point-blank range, he gets overwhelmed by the Tech 9. They're doing pretty decent damage. Vice starts spamming through the door. Blade swaps out guns. And there's the MP9 picked up by the other side. Now they found themselves an AK as well. Shinobi had to double back to grab the bomb, and now he's trapped on the other end of the door. Did they realize he's still here? They didn't seem keen to push through it. Had he just held for a little while longer, it would have been interesting to see how Rush responded to that, as they had no vision of the bomb site. So I don't think they knew that he was in that spot. But still, it's a 12-6 lead for Enigma6. I don't think they're really sweating yet. It's going to be one more round of pistols before they're able to buy, and a lack of a bomb plant isn't going to help them at all either.
Yeah, now taking a look at Enigma6 here, they are just going to go into the half buy for this fourth round, like I was saying before. So saving up here. I mean, even with the damage they did in the last round is not bad either. You can already see the reductions coming in on the Rush side. 2 SMGs being played out here, and early on they're able to actually push Blade back, but Blade returned that damage, and now Silent's going to move with a Molly. Molly misses the Blade, still getting that first set of kills, traded back by Whitmer, but Silent now taking command of the situation here. He gets back that great control, and A2Z and Shinobi both at low HP, trying to make a haphazard attempt to get up onto the site, but nothing works its way through. Silent ends up with a 3K, and Rush get themselves their 7th round for the map.
Here comes the buy-up, though, for Enigma6. And when it was rifle versus rifle, we saw time and time again where Enigma6 was able to just claw their way to a victory, even when it didn't make any sense for them to be able to do so. We're talking severe favor towards Rush in around like a 4 versus 2. And we even saw, you know, what was it, Vice almost aced with like 8 seconds left on the B site. He almost got a 2 kills with a 180 spray transfer onto Silent, who was playing in the vent with the op. I mean, we saw rounds like that where were so close to being Enigma6's. Even still, that should not have happened. But here, nothing happening early on. A minute 30 left on the clock. The bomb's been dropped. We've got Wrath pushed up pretty far, but he's just holding on the edge of that wall, not willing to go past it. And there's a Molly right on his tracks, forces him out of position. Now he's going to have to take a fight with Toy, and he's going to win it. So now he's going to stick around just a little while longer and see what else he can find in this spot.
Yeah, he's going to be supported by Vice now, too, as they were watching out to see if anyone from the CT side would maybe attempt to push back up the steps for revenge, but not looking likely, at least not for the timing that E6 is looking into it. Although they have moved both Aegis and Ruru up to this point of the map now, so they may be able to hold and find this kill after all. Aegis has actually found himself a slight one-way through this smoke, and he impacts on it by getting that first kill. Almost chased back by some of the players from E6 that are still on this ramp, but he survives for right now with 14 HP, falling back. Still going to be in the open, though, where Vice is going to take him down and then follows it through with the second. Eliminates Ruru. Now up to Blade and Silent, the A players, to hold off this 2v4 and still make it happen. Silent with a nice find. Catches Wrath on the sidewalk. Blade almost already in position to start this flank as well. So Rush have a real chance at this.
I like the play from Silent there. He gets the kill and falls back through the smoke, not wanting to push the fight past that Molly that was doing some damage to him. Waiting for his teammate to get into position. They clear out the drop room, and Blade's now going to work his way towards the broken wall. Nice shooting onto A2Z as well, who had the lineup, but now so much clock has expired, and he tries to heave a flash over the wall to move up closer. It's another 3K for Vice. I'd love to see how many that's been tonight, because it's been, I'd say it's at least 5 probably, considering his stats on the first map, and even here doing well as well at 19 and 10. Again, him and Wrath right at the top. 19 for Vice, 21 for him. It's a 13th round for Enigma6. Rush get kind of broken to a certain degree with that one, so it's going to be umps in play here in 2 M4s. If they lose this one, they have very little money, and I mean, that kind of seals the deal. So Rush have their back against the walls here with Enigma6 trying to fight towards a victory.
Yeah, Rush just, again, gambling with their stack primarily over towards B. They're going to put 4 of their guys in to defend both drop and out on the site. They got 2 in drop as well, which is a little bit more common nowadays. But E6 may decide to send players into it regardless. You can see Wrath trying to test against a counter boost or something like that. So now he's going to be... Actually, it looked like for a second he was maybe going to try to take advantage of that smoke since it was still being tossed onto the ground, but decided against it and is just back to watching for counter boosting. Meanwhile, the rest of E6 were making plans to try and push in towards A-Long, but they've kind of cammed those as well. They're now slowly shifting back to get into the B halls, and more than likely just end up just going straight out onto that site.
Ruru right underneath the drop room with that UMP. Really good gun in this position, given that CQC, which is something we've already highlighted about the map. Vice heaves a Molly out to the cubby. There's no one there. Toy's actually playing on the stairs. He, too, is using the ump. He gets spotted by Wrath, I believe. It looked like Wrath saw him, but I'm not so sure. As Wrath goes into the corner to throw the flash, there's the Molly, but it's actually off the mark. So he's going to be able to use the flames for a bit of cover, as Vice couldn't move up far enough to really get that angle he needed. Still, though, they've lost control of the site. Aegis is playing pizza. Whitmer peeks out, loses his life. So the bomb is going to be planted, but it's not going to be great numbers right now for the boys on Enigma6. And in fact, it comes down to 1 player and 1 player only. It's going to be Wrath, who runs out of ammo in the magazine, has to switch out to the clock. It's a great shot on the Blade, but it's still the round for Rush regardless.
That was a dirty kill on the Blade. He gets the triple tap on the Glock. You almost never see that kill actually work out, let alone just completely destroy a player. So very well done indeed. Rush, however, do indeed still win it out, up 8-13. 5 rounds to go until they tie it. And they may get themselves one with a bit of a relatively easier path to claim it this time. since E6's money is not looking too great, and they may just end up half playing into this round.
You're not really feeling the pressure yet if you're Enigma6,
they
but
force buy.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they had to, but I guess they're just feeling really confident with the way things are going. They also know that they've got Rush in a rough spot with their money, where if they can win this one, Rush won't have any cash left to buy. So I guess I understand the play. It's kind of like, we can afford this more than they can. Like, we can afford losing this round more than they can. Even if Enigma6 loses this round, if they take 3 players out, I'd still consider that a bit of a success, as it doesn't allow Rush to recover, and that money's going to be pivotal for a potential comeback here. I mean, they're not going to be able to do much of anything if they lose one round and get reset.
Well, Akis picking up 1 kill at the very least here, and E6 just trying to slowly push players out one by one. It's really not working. Toy getting himself a nice double from up on top of Plaid. Akis, A2Z so far is the only one that's been able to hold on. He'd have to ace it now to clutch this one out for his team, but I highly doubt that. Everyone from Rush has pretty much rotated over here to the site, so they're ready to hold that back off, and A2Z just hoping for a lucky opportunity to eliminate 1 or 2 more players before he more than likely will eventually go down.
Yeah, 47 HP. He's just doing what he can here. He actually mollies out Blade. Yeah, a lot of damage dealt to Blade, who was behind the statue. So Blade drops the smoke. At least he knows that Blade's still here. Blade can't really do much of anything. If he wants to see A2Z, he's going to have to peek out a little bit wider, at which point he'd be taking a long-range duel with an AK versus an UMP. 25 seconds left. All they have to do is burn clock here. At this point, I think that A2Z should consider just holding on to this AK if possible, but he still seems like he wants to go for this one. He's not really willing to give up the round. Never give up, never surrender. Goonies never say die, but apparently he does die anyway. So the round goes the way of Rush. All 3 survive. He's not able to take one out with him, and it should be a save here from Enigma6.
Yeah, I believe their money's going to be run a little bit too dry here now, so they are going to end up on relatively light pistol purchases. P250s for most action. I think there's 1 Deagle in the play there. I thought I saw one. Yeah, there it is. It's on Vice. So they'll have that, but other than that, it is just going to be P250s across the board, and Rush should have themselves a 10th. So getting closer now, and they might start to get a little bit of that confidence back. They did kind of dead back on the last map and for parts of this map, but it seems like they're kind of coming back into the fold here as they've been given a second chance to maybe win this map and take it to a number 3.
Nade lands right in front of Vice, but he dodges it for the time being. Deagle firing shots off towards the back of B platform, where he's got Toy dodging said Deagle bullets. 2 players grouped up at A, 3 over towards B, and they've actually already got 1 in E-box, so they've got Akis looking the other direction. This could work out really nicely here, as Wrath says hi with his P250 at point-blank range, puts the barrel against his temple. Meanwhile, at the broken wall, Vice moved up to the edge of the smoke, but decided to back off. Wrath was not able to find the rifle that he dropped out of Akis' hands, but he's still in this position, and he's trying to do damage here. Ruru takes the fight, and that aim punch is going to prove to be a seriously devastating factor for Wrath in this battle between the two. However, they've lost control of A, so they're now going to get that bomb across and try and get it down, and they do escape. So Vice, oh, I thought for a second Vice had it. He just narrowly gets tagged through the door as he makes it into the site. Wimmer gets the bomb planted just in the nick of time. So it is going to be some money here for Enigma6, but Rush is finally going to cross that double-digit line, something they struggled to do in the first map.
Yeah, I mean, overall, right, for basically a full save on Enigma6, that's still a pretty good round. They get a plan, they get 2 kills. I mean, they're not going to completely break the CT economy anytime soon, but at the very least, they are going to be able to bring that money down a little bit lower. It's still at a really kind of controllable point. Rush is getting an Nexus, so they're still going to be good for probably 1 more buy after this if E6 does immediately win this next round with no saves, which is also another kind of unlikely possibility. You'd imagine at least 1 or 2 players from Rush would be able to get out of there unless it comes down to a really close clutch, but we're going to find out a lot of that in just a second with E6 being back on the buy and early on here just splitting into basically what's going to turn into a default.
E6 can't fumble this one away at this point. This is for Pro League. You only need 3 rounds, and you've needed only 3 rounds for quite some time. You had a great first half. It's time to cross that finish line. Toy takes damage with Vice as these two get into a fight early on. But I mean, there's still a chance for Rush to bring this bone back. It wasn't looking like it at first, but now it's starting to become possible.
it could just be the pressure mounting on Enigma6 too. I mean, we already know the tale of what happened the last time most of this rosters you're mentioning was together and was in the same position for under denial, so they have that going against them too. But moving back in, a 1-for-1 trade to start us off on the push there. Vice adds a second to the counter. Now the A-Long players are going to try to push their way back in. Holds for that first kill. Blade with a second, evening it into a 2v2, but Wrath strikes back, eliminating Silent, and now leaving Blade up on the clutch.
Yeah, Vice doing what Vice has been doing all series long, all playoff long, all relegation long. I mean, he just single-handedly wins around. When Enigma6 is struggling, it seems like Wrath and Vice are kind of the fall guys. They can just kind of lean back on those two and rely on them to carry them out of a situation that they don't deserve winning. So Vice gets an opening kill on B, gets a few more, finds a 4K in the end. But that play from Silent on A almost won the round for Rush had it not been for the fact that Vice was doing the exact same thing on the opposite end of the map. So it's a 14th round for Enigma6, but at this point, Rush's money has stabilized just enough to guarantee a few rifles being picked up. There's still at least one SMG user. That'll be Akis, who carries the ump. They are lacking in the kit department, so depending on where Toy dies, that could prove to be problematic. He's currently playing in the back of the B site, so if they get a kill on him and then the bomb goes A, it's well out of reach. It'll cause Rush to have to live by their name and charge into the site to try and get a retake.
So, taking a look at E6 and how their plan is going to evolve. More than likely, as we've been mentioning here, you are going to end up looking at a bit of a drop split, but that's been delayed quite significantly by yet another smoke, and a missed molly from Shinobi is actually going to cost them quite a bit of cash here. Thankfully, they still have like 3 or 4 more, so I highly doubt they're going to be missing them just yet. Shinobi, though, still kind of watch out proactively for the counter boost, but he has missed his Q with Akis boosting over top. Shinobi finally getting himself into the battle, but Akis closes out against him. And once again, Rush off to the advantage, and E6 just completely flutter outside of A-Long entirely, and are now back in those B halls.
Vice is doing what Vice has been doing for most of this game here, lurking towards B. Meanwhile, Whitmer picks off one over towards A. Vice catches Toy going across the stairs after a pop flash was there to lead him in, but it's A2Z to actually find the frag. Ruru's still here. Flashes are coming in from the door, and that's a big kill to pick up as they drop both Vice and Wrath, and now it's down to just a few seconds left on the clock. A2Z's got to clutch it out from the site, at least secures the bomb plant, which again will give them a little bit more money to fall back on, a bonus $800, but it's an 11th round for Rush. So we're not quite through this game yet. Rush survive with 3 players, again, guaranteeing some money moving forward. In case Enigma6 does get that 15th round, they will be able to buy back off the amount of money they've been building up here.
But Enigma6 is in another kind of bad crossroads here in terms of their buy. Like, Shinobi really can't afford anything, so they can probably half buy for everyone except Shinobi, but that's really going to be it. They do need a full save here, and that's going to give Rush another round to get back into it. Very inconsistent pattern of winning from E6 is kind of killing their economy and not letting them consistently buy, even with the plant that they just got out of the last round. So you can expect probably nice and slow lead up with probably just an all-in execution at the end of it to try and find themselves into their plant.
It looks like they're just going to go with the B stack here. A lot of players trying to get through the drop room. Toy was ready to throw a molly, but after he saw that first player, he decides to fall back instead, not knowing how many are going to be there. So now they waterfall out, trying to get into the window, and they actually get past him with the ump, but there's still one more supporting in connector. That's Silent, who, it's a sloppy spray, but he gets it all together in the end. He even takes some damage from his team. The only remaining player is Vice, and he too will not find much success. He was the only one on the round to actually get a kill, but a pretty easy shutdown there for Rush.
Well, Enigma6 are coming back into it once again here. One of the few good things that they have going for them now, despite their deteriorating lead, is the fact that they've kept Rush's economy in a pretty decent place. Like I've said before, really low money overall, so you are still going to be looking at a few players having to scrap by in the event they wipe the board clean. But they need to do that. We need to see that dominant Enigma6 that we were seeing on the first half that seems to have just suddenly vanished on the T side. Again, they'll open up with a nice slow default. Probably not going to see a whole lot of combat for the first 20 to 30 seconds of the round. Smoke's being deployed to the box. Will give them a little bit of room to push up onto the platform at B if they would like to, but they find their first kills over at drop. Over aggressive, though. Raffle is going to find himself to B. As he continues to push into the transition room, Ruru is just going to trade that back out and bring it down to a 4v4, causing most of Enigma6 to once again abandon the B push, and now look for options towards the mid connector.
I kind of feel like this is just the same look we've seen from Enigma6 for several rounds now. They just keep doing the same thing. Wrathworks connector, this is their default, but it's not working. So you have to find an alternative play. Like what we saw from Rush in that first half where they just barreled through mid, just charged into the A site completely, like full reckless abandon. And it worked out. Obviously, they lost the round. They lost the retake. But the round itself, the idea was solid. Here, though, they've actually managed to get all the way up mid without anyone noticing they're there. So now they're going across into the site, and down goes the only player that was here. It's actually Blade, who is playing towards long. Silent has been pretty solid on this A site, but he was playing towards B this time around. A2Z's in the back of site, playing by daisies, watching for the drop-in from the balcony. And they've got a player positioned on long as well. That'll be Whitmer with the op, watching the vent room. This setup is actually really good right now for the boys on Enigma6. It's all going to come down to a matter of time. A2Z just needs to hold his ground in this position as they finally flood out from that area. Whitmer trying to do what he can. A2Z misses the shot. Toy leaps around the corner. That's a good kill for them. But there's Shinobi in the back of sight, and Whitmer gets 2. That's exactly what Enigma6 needed. It's a 15th round for them, and they can collectively breathe a sigh of relief as they have at the very least guaranteed overtime in a game that I would not have expected to even consider overtime as a possibility.
The rebuy, though, is going to be a little bit, it's going to be slightly scrappy, but not as bad as Rush ends up being. I mean, both teams have a relatively good buy. The unfortunate thing is that Rush do have to go down to a UMP on Ruru. But still, UMPs, as we very, very well know and probably hate, are quite powerful guns. So that's not really going to restrict him all that much. So he plays in the right position. And over here towards drop, it's not going to be a bad place to do it. Look at Enigma6, though. They're just rushing their way up into the A-bomb site, barging in through mid-connector. Blade didn't even know how to react to it at first, but now he falls back and is immediately taken down. The timing on the push from E6 is just perfect. Now as they move back in, Akis and Ruru will try to jump into the fray. Ruru so far getting that only kill. Akis adds 2 more to the counter, evens the fight, but doesn't last much longer after he gets those kills. Vice will take him down. Everything falls to Toy now.
This is where the pressure really builds on you if you're Enigma6. You know just how much weight is on this right now. Whitmer looking the other direction, and Toy sees the barrel of the gun. Toy is playing this beautifully. Oh, he actually whiffs at first on the first few shots, but now they know where he's coming from, and it's come down to Vice and Toy. Surprise, surprise, these two players were duking it out on B so many rounds in a row, and there it is! It will be Enigma6 who qualify for the next season of ESL Pro League. Who other than Vice to get the last kill? He was basically the man of the match for Enigma6. You could argue that Wrath was right in that position as well, but a great performance from those two players is what carried Enigma6 to this point, something that Whitmer, Vice, and Shinobi were denied many seasons ago. They finally got back here.
And so off of that, Enigma6 is going to be able to claim our second of the 3 new available slots for Season 6 of the Pro League. Congratulations to them. We do have one more to decide, though, but you'll have to wait until tomorrow for that one. It's going to be the loser of this current match, which is now Rush, facing off against Ghost Gaming, who got a 2-0 forfeit win in their elimination match today against the Foundation. So the Foundation is now out of the running. We have one more slot left to claim, and it is going to be Rush taking on this new challenger to be able to try and claim that for the next season. That's going to be tomorrow, though. I believe that does close us out for this evening. So, Block, anything else you'd like to add here before we do shut it down?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, good work from Enigma6. Another premier team makes it into ESL Pro League.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting too to see how Wrath moves forward. I think we were talking about it in our chat here, but he actually might be one of the youngest, if not the youngest player ever to move up to the Pro League. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out. But we'll find out who our second and final team is going to be tomorrow, folks. So be sure to rejoin us for that. That's it for today, though. So thank you all very much for tuning in.